What's going on, guys? My name is Christian and this is my 2016 extended Sprinter van. I'm gonna take you guys on a tour today and I'm gonna show you everything that my partner and I did to convert this over the pandemic. And it's been quite a journey, but I'm excited to show you guys kind of the life that we've been living here in Victoria inside of the van, so come on in. So when you guys walk in, first thing obviously you'll see is kind of these barn doors. So this was an idea that my girlfriend actually came up with. And I'm not much of a carpenter or anything by any means, but we had some help from my girlfriend's parents. So we decided to get a bar sink. It's just a little bit deeper, bigger, so that we can do more dishes. It piles up all the time in here, so we find ourselves having to do dishes in here, and that's really the biggest bulk of cleaning for us. Inside of here we have most of our pantry food and stuff, which may or may not fall out, but we're probably gonna end up getting kind of hinges there. That way it stays open for us, because we always kind of have to use our head to keep it open. But that's where we keep most of our food. So this is our Thermomate dual propane stovetop, and I absolutely love it. A lot of people would say, don't you miss having an oven and things like that? But honest to God, this is really all we need. We even use a Dutch oven at times to make pizza and things like that. So yeah, we don't really need an oven by any means. This works perfectly fine. As for the water system, we made it very, very, very simple. Underneath here, we actually have obviously our organic compost and stuff like that, but this is our gray water. I just realized that if we would have just had two of the exact same 6 gallon, I think it is, or 6 liter, yeah, it is 6 gallon, then it would equally filled up. But we bought this see-through so that we could see when it fills up so it doesn't overflow. But don't do the same mistake we did. Yeah, so this is a 12-volt water pump. It pumps directly from the fresh water and then just goes into the gray water. That's it. Then we have propane stored here. A lot of people ask us, like, aren't you afraid to drive around with this? But honest to God, we have it strapped in here, and we could put it outside, but it doesn't really do any harm here. We've done a lot of research on it, and for us, it works fine. Yeah, so that's our water system. Very simple. Turns right on just like that. It's got a lot of power to it. It's got 2 settings. So for this propane, I know that a lot of people are worried about ventilation. So we actually do have 2 fans that we always keep running as we turn it on. So I'll twist it on, right? And then after that happens, I'll turn this on, that on. And then these 2 window frames open up as well. So there's tons of ventilation coming through. Also, if I keep the door open, I don't typically have to use the fan. So yeah, as long as there's air flowing through here, you should be fine. We wanted to do kind of what Eamon and Beck were doing with the backsplash here, but I didn't really know how to apply the grout or anything like that. I'm not handy. So we got this from Amazon. It's literally just peel and stick. It's super cheap. Marissa was hesitant about it because she is very against plastics and things like this. So it was kind of a trade-off, and we realized that we're always going to be using it. It's always going to be in here, so we're not going to end up throwing it out or anything like that. So we're going to get long-term use out of it. So that's what we used. Very simple to apply, and then we just added kind of a little frame there so that it looked kind of like there was a nice separation. And then this is my favorite addition to the van, actually. This is our 3/4 inch, I think it's pine tongue and groove. So we bought this also at a sawmill in Ontario. We ended up staining it from some sort of oak stain at Home Depot that we got, and that took up a lot of time just getting that done, but I absolutely love the way that it turned out. I think that you know, it just makes it seem more homey and kind of cabin. I love those cabin vibes, you know, so that's what we did. And then we used the same stain for this as well, so that way it kind of complemented each other and stuff like that. So recently we just added in this kind of material to the door, so when you close it, we kind of just did this for now. It's so much easier, honestly, than if you were just going to like add in all these panels and make it look so perfect with all the metal exposed. This is used, so it does look scuffed up in the metal pieces. We just added in this bulkhead because I find a lot of van lifers in the Mercedes Sprinters have a really tough time with covering this up. Very simple. We just added 3 pieces of wood, one in the very back as like a stud, one here, one across up top, and we just grabbed felt and covered that up. Very easy. Obviously guitar. Marissa and I are avid musicians. We haven't really been playing anywhere recently, but we're really looking forward to playing in the Victoria and BC area, so excited for that. This is probably my favorite part of the van, not the broomstick, but this. So Eamon and Beck gave us this idea as well. It actually flips up, so it turns into a full-size bed, just like this, and then you can do that on both sides. That is the garage space, which we'll get to definitely for sure after, and I'll show you guys it from the back because there's a ton of space back there. And yeah, so I have two, I forget what this is, like 1/2-inch rods that I bought from Home Depot. Very simple. I literally just drilled out a hole in the back of the van on top of the bed frame. There's also a rope that I drilled in that's holding it in place so that it doesn't kind of like move around or anything like that, but it holds really well. Yeah, Marissa and I sit on here all the time, really comfortable, and it's absolutely massive. So yeah, we get lots of room up here. We were gonna get a TV that kind of rolled out, but we try to refrain from watching a bunch of TV and rather get outside, because I think that that's the purpose of van life, is to explore where it is that you're at. We have a juicer up here that we don't typically use. Now I'm gonna get very real with you guys here. I tried to organize as much of the van as I could possible, but realistically, I wanted to keep it as real as it gets for myself. This is Marissa's pants and everything like that. My clothes are in that one as well as hers, so it's kind of half and half for t-shirts. And the last one, which is super small, is like my gym clothes and everything that I use. So yeah, we have everything that we do the dishes with in here, so we'll usually lay it out, grab the dishes, put it on here so that we have more space to work with, you know. Another thing is, this is just our little technology drawer with a bunch of random stuff in it, kind of like a junk drawer. So journals, wires, cords, chargers, all that stuff. We have the Max Air fan, and this is actually funny. So at the beginning of the pandemic, it was so hard to find fans, and I had to buy a Fantastic fan and a Max Air fan because I couldn't get both Max Air fans. It kind of worked out, and I was trying to think about like the most positive thing. I was like, all right, I'm gonna save a little bit of money because 2 of the Fantastic fans are obviously more expensive than getting one of these and then that, because this is a little bit cheaper. But the pros of this is, honestly, I put this over the bed because at night our diesel heater, which actually is right here and I haven't shown you yet, sometimes I forget all the things that I have because I live in this every day. So literally just turn it on and blast. It gets so cold so fast, so we can use that. We actually haven't had to change the batteries out of this. It's been 8 months, so it lasts forever. You can just put it right back there, close that. Same thing with this. You literally just open it up and then turn it on. You can go in and out. So right now it's in, and then if you turn it the other way, it goes out. That's it. At one point, we ended up, Marissa and I, wanting to go to Campbell River. So that's north on Vancouver Island, and our Chinese diesel heater at the time absolutely sucked. It was the worst investment that I've ever made in van life. And so if anybody's going for a diesel heater, highly recommend the Planar diesel heater. We were going to get the Webasto, I think it was, but we are working with a marine technician, and he worked with a lot of boaters. So he recommended that we get this one. It's very small, it's sleek. You guys can come check it out in there. It's literally that small. It's so tiny, not quiet or not loud at all. We do have pot lights underneath the kitchen as well. So I really wanted to show you that, but I forgot. And then as far as the lights go, we have 2 switches here, one for the front, one for the back. So we got a Stackle fridge, it's 12 volt, so it doesn't run off much energy. We tried to use 12 volt for everything. There's actually a lot more space than it looks like back here. There's just so much that we take with us on the road, which is why we didn't want to have kind of the bed that folded up, and we wanted a fixed bed, so we had a lot of storage. So we have a Renogy battery charger. So this actually runs off of 3 lithium batteries that we have at the bottom here that are also by Renogy. So you can't really see them right now, but 3 lithium batteries. We've had no issues whatsoever with running kettles. We've ran all of our phones all at once. It's never really gone out on us once, so really good setup so far for us. It actually runs off, there's an alternator right there. So as we're driving, so we have a solenoid, and I believe that the alternator in the car or whatever charges this. I'm not the biggest on electrical stuff. We actually hired somebody to do this for us. Yeah, we also have lights underneath here as well. So we got 2 lights set up under there. So honestly, what I'm gonna do, and I know this is kind of like funny, but my sister's coming up from Ontario, and we're gonna clear all this out and store it in a storage, and then we can literally use just this under part space for her to just like make a bed, and then she has her own little light under there. I can literally just put the bed down, and then it's kind of a separate room. So that's what we use for that. We also have I'm not gonna take it out because it's way back there, but we have a Generac generator, so then it can like power up the entire batteries in the vehicle if we're kind of stationed in one spot for too long. Because obviously, as you guys know, the only time that this vehicle the electricity works is when we're driving quite frequently. So we actually ended up getting it spray foamed. We hired somebody to do that. It took literally just a day, so really useful to help us stay warm in the winters. Especially with that diesel heater, it keeps the heat in really well. My partner and I, Marissa, we live in here full time. We've been in here for 8 months. We live in Victoria, BC, and I'm an online fitness coach. My girlfriend is studying to become a marine biologist, so we thought this would be the perfect lifestyle for us if we ever need to relocate, and Hawaii is kind of the big goal for us. So eventually we're going to bring this across waters and then kind of do some more exploration. The minimalism was very attractive to us, and my business is called Freedom Fitness, and I think that one of the major things that everybody values in life is freedom. And so just being able to not have strings attached, being stuck between four walls, and for example, I wake up and I get to see a brand new scenery every single day is just so refreshing to me. It's so freeing, and it's just inspiring. It gives me more of a mental bandwidth to think and be creative with the things that I want to do in my life. So that's it. That's all. And that's who I am. Well, I live in a van because I think that having more space than necessary is kind of just wasteful, in my opinion, just because I know that typically when I was living in my own home, I would use just one room for the most part if I was doing my work there, working online, or I just go over to the kitchen. And so I feel like I have all of my essential needs all in one place. It just makes things more simplified. So I think that everybody should try van life and just see it before they make assumptions about it, because it's very convenient that you can have everything that you want in one place. So for finances, what made most sense for us was that we were able to save, because we don't need to pay $1,500 to $2,000 for rent every single month in Canadian dollars, right? So for us, we're making $250 biweekly payments. That's $500 plus the insurance. That's saving us easily $600 to $700 a month minimum. Instead of having to pay $25,000 plus every year, we just put that same money into the conversion, and now we're doing monthly payments on the van, and it just makes a lot of sense, especially for students, since you can get out there and explore when you're not on campus. You don't have to pay something that you'll never get that investment back for. And so like we can sell this in 4 years when Marissa's done school and get more money back to pay off her debt if we want, and even more. Some of the other benefits is meeting more people that are like-minded to you. So if I roll up to a park and I see a couple other van lifers, immediately we have this bond, this connection of loving the outdoors. And a big part of me even living in an apartment was just getting outside in my backyard and using that space. But everywhere I go is my backyard. And so you can just do so many things with more people. And again, I think that the perks of living in a van is you just have more opportunities available to you, because you're not stuck in one place. If you ever needed to travel somewhere, or you had a job opportunity somewhere, you don't need to start looking for rent. You have your home on wheels. It can bring you anywhere you want. So some of the challenges that we've had so far living in van life is just two people living in one van. It's obviously, a lot of people would say, you're crazy for living with your partner in a van. It's so small. I think this is 70 square feet or something like that. And it's definitely taught us a lot more about ourselves. It's given us an opportunity to learn kind of what it is that it would be like if we were always constantly together. Now, it helped during the pandemic that we were pretty much, Marissa and I were like linked at the hip, and we didn't want to really leave each other. And so when we got into the van, it was the same thing. We were still always together all the time. So the pandemic actually prepared us for this type of change. How we really deal with it is Marissa will be up on there using her laptop. I'll be down here in this lower level area and working on things, and we'll kind of swap, or she'll just be in the front seat. So we're definitely looking at getting a swivel seat, because that will open up the space a little bit more and then give us that that extra distance that is kind of hard to find living in a van. So what we use for a washroom and shower is As I'm an online fitness coach, I always use the gym. Marissa's the exact same way. Whether she's on campus, she can use the facilities in the athletic center. So we're always just using those facilities. But the way that I like to look at it is if I'm traveling from A to B on a road trip, I'm always going to use the washroom before I leave and then kind of like when I get to my destination. So it really helps as well that in Victoria there's a lot of outdoor kind of public restrooms, so that helps. But in aspects of showers, we usually use the gym facilities. When I first met Marissa, I was very much like a big time consumer. I liked going out on weekends, spending money out here and there. I had 2 vehicles at one point, and I just liked buying a lot of things. Now, as you can see, we don't have much storage for clothes, so we've had to choose all of the clothes that we like most and kind of swap things out. We like to, donate things to Goodwill or Value Village if we're gonna get new stuff, but it has forced us to limit our consumption in aspects of water, energy as well. We're always just using renewable energy from the vehicle and the alternator and stuff like that. So we don't need to worry about constantly, about how much water we're using and consuming because we only have what is available to us here, right? So we can't accidentally overconsume. So it allows us to keep track of that. Another thing is the minimalist lifestyle for us and buying less things. It's like we can't buy more things because we only have so much room in here. So it's a great system to have in place where if you are already a big time buyer where you constantly buy things, like you're going to find yourself just cramped in here because you're going to continue to buy things that just stack up. So, well, the first thing that I would do is probably rent out a van and see if it's for you. And the reason why I say that is, I've had friends come in here and be like, oh, van life is cool. But then they sit in here for a day and they're like, I don't think that I would be able to do this. And to me, obviously, I'm like, that's crazy. Like, how couldn't you want to do this? I can go anywhere I want and I have all the space that I need and I can cook and I can clean and I can, everything in here. But for some people, it's just not for them, right? Like, they need more space. It's kind of one of those things where you just have to take a leap of faith, trust the process, know that you'll figure it out as you go. Because I was also fearful of this in the beginning. I think that when I started van life, I was like, how am I going to like make sure that I afford this? But I think it pushed me more to work a little bit harder within my own business to make sure that I could afford this lifestyle. And so that was a source of accountability, but also just like anything in life, like if you want good things, you kind of just have to go figure it out later. And that's the beauty of van life is I don't think that people are like, I always hear people say like, you're lucky that you live in a van or something like that. But one of the quotes that I always love the most is like, the harder that I worked, the luckier I got. And you have to just continue to work hard on what it is that this vision that it is that you see living van life and just keep looking at it every day. It took me 7 years to get to this point where I'm finally like looking at what is my reality right now. And there were times where I felt like it was so far-fetched, but if I didn't take that leap of faith when I felt like I wasn't ready, then it would have never happened and we wouldn't be here right now and I wouldn't be living the life that I've dreamt of. So I think what I'm actually understanding now living in van is like I'm relearning things about myself. So I'm relearning the fact that I love the outdoors and that I don't really need to stay inside and have a big living space. Like living in a van, yeah, I have some place to come home and get some really good shut eye or whatever. But and I can cook here and have the doors open, but it's really allowed me to relearn my sense of like my environment of where I can expand everything that it is that I want in my life. It's not about the van, it's about what the van gives me. It's about what the opportunities that the van gives me is, I think, the most important thing. And that's what I've relearned about myself is that, it's just, you don't really need as much things and you should be outside enjoying what it is that's out there for you. I used to live in Asia. I lived in China for 2 years. I was stuck in a really big condo and I dreamt every day of living van life because I realized like, holy cow, like I've been in the city for so long and nobody actually cares to go and explore. They just love living in the city and that's fine. But for me, I realized as soon as I got home and I started working for this and I got into the van, it was everything that I thought it was going to be and more, being able to just enjoy what the world has to offer as opposed to just living in consumerism in a city and always having to spend money to do the things that you love. You can go out there and explore the world. Like I can go up to Strathcona Provincial Park and north of the island and just see what is naturally beautiful for free. person that best suits living in a van is somebody who just values nature, the outdoors, minimalism, simplicity, freedom. So if those are things that you value and you don't really want to be stuck living in the same four walls all the time, which if you find is you, that's totally okay. But like if you want to explore and you just want to see what's out there for you in the world and you want to change, just go do it. Don't wait. You know, it's never going to be the perfect time. You got to figure it out as you go. And I promise you won't be disappointed. My personal philosophy on life would have to be, you know, nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. And so if you're waiting for the perfect shot or the perfect opportunity to do the thing that you want in life right now, just know that like somebody out there is wishing that they had the same opportunities as you do right now to go ahead and do that thing. They're literally praying and dreaming tonight, and they won't even wake up tomorrow and, you know, be able to have those same opportunities that you have because they won't be here. So go out there, do it. Life's too short. And I don't really like want to use it because that's cliche, but like it is YOLO. Like do what makes sense for you, do what makes you happy. Don't live your life like you're live your life by design. Don't live your life by default. I think that's really the best way to put it in short. Live your life by design, not by default. And you'll always be happy because you'll be free because you're living life on your own terms. I mean, one really good thing about living in a van is if you like photography or if you like just being artsy or whatever, you can go out and kind of, I think, be more creative. This is the thing, is that people are less creative in their life because they see the same things every single day. If you want to be more creative within your own business or within your own life and with your partner and with your kids, you need to see new things. So waking up in the morning and me seeing something new, I'm like, oh wow, like that is so cool. Like I honestly, some days I wake up and I think that I'm in somewhere else, and then I wake up and I'm like, how did I get here? Like I didn't even know that I parked here last night. Like this is awesome. But just challenge yourself to get out there and see new things, and I promise you, you will become more creative in your mind and your life will be so much more exciting. So you can follow me at Fit Freedom Coach or the official Vanlife on Instagram. You can also follow me on those exact same handles on TikTok and on Facebook, just my full name, Christian Kaba. Yeah, that's where you can find all my van life adventures and what it is that I'm doing in my life and my coaching.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend. Also, if you want to watch more alternative dwellings, we got a playlist popping up right here, and we release new episodes every single Sunday, so consider subscribing.